So the reports of a civil war within Lucasfilm between Jon Favreau's faction and Kathleen Kennedy's faction have been going crazy lately, and I know everyone always rolls their eyes when they hear the word civil war within Lucasfilm, but you have to realize it's not two factions fighting each other with lightsabers and blasters. It's just two sides within Lucasfilm playing the politics game, trying to power grab and gain more creative control over the projects that are coming in the future. I think a lot of the stuff that has been happening within Star Wars, within Disney, with the mainstream media outlets straight up attacking Disney and the decisions that they're making, I think it shows that Kathleen Kennedy is on her way out, and I think for the Disney higher-ups, Jon Favreau is the obvious choice to replace her. The support for Gina Carano and the hatred of Disney ever since she was fired has been crazy. The Disney Plus viewership numbers are down, the Star Wars YouTube channel numbers are down, and every single time they post a video on the Star Wars YouTube channel, it gets downvoted into oblivion. They're doing very bad things, very shady things in order to keep up this facade of being woke, and to keep up the facade that anyone who doesn't like what they're doing are just alt-right crazies. But all of that is being proven wrong. And I think at the end of the day, it's Kathleen Kennedy and her woke agenda versus Jon Favreau and his creative genius, because they're going to see how hard the High Republic flops and how well the Filoniverse does. I reported on it yesterday how good the numbers were for the Mandalorian finale. There was 95 million different households who viewed the Mandalorian finale after 2 weeks of the episode being out. And if you don't know how good that is, for comparison, WandaVision had an average 7.45 million viewers per episode. So yeah, the Mandalorian did pretty well. But Kathleen Kennedy is doing what Kathleen Kennedy does. She's trying to take the success of the Mandalorian and turn it into her own success by pushing the High Republic super hard. But once again, the creative genius of the Mandalorian of Jon Favreau's faction is just so much more profitable than Kathleen Kennedy's woke agenda. People don't pay to see wokeness in Star Wars. We pay to see good stories, creative stories being told. And that's what Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are doing, and I know the Disney higher-ups are going to see that. But I have an article to show you that's talking about the civil war that's going on between Kathleen Kennedy and Jon Favreau. And keep in mind that none of this is confirmed. Lucasfilm would never confirm that there's a civil war happening within their company. That would be a very stupid thing to do. But if you just use any sort of logic or brain power, you can see that this probably is happening. So the article says Kennedy and Favreau battling for control of Star Wars in a Lucasfilm civil war. It's not exactly news that Kathleen Kennedy and Jon Favreau have been at odds creatively over their visions for the Star Wars franchise. That much has been reported and played itself on screen as well with differing storylines. That's kind of the trump card for anyone who says that there's not a civil war happening at Lucasfilm. You can actually just look at the stories that are being told between the two sides and see how different they are, see how much their visions differ between the two sides, and just see how different they are. And I've had Star Wars YouTubers call me out saying that I'm lying about the civil war, but if you literally just look at the stories that are being told, look at the Filoniverse, the Mandalorian, the Clone Wars, and then look at the High Republic, those are the two sides that are battling for control over Star Wars. And personally, I think the creative side's going to win. I think the Filoniverse is going to win, but Kathleen Kennedy is doing all she can to make sure that they lose. But it does appear as if things are heating up, with each digging their respective heels in around who should control the central pieces of projects moving forward. At first, it appeared Kathleen Kennedy would be fired from her role as head of Lucasfilm, leaving Favreau in the driver's seat, but that isn't set in stone at this point. So Kathleen Kennedy being fired from Lucasfilm isn't a new rumor at all. This has been being said for years and years. And the reason why people think it's fake now is because people thought she wasn't going to renew her contract a couple years ago. Everyone believed the rumors that she wasn't going to renew her contract, and then she ended up renewing it, and now no one believes any rumors that she's going to be fired. Well, the reason that this time is different is that Disney, Lucasfilm, and Star Wars are actually losing money because of her, because of the decisions that she is making. Yes, Solo lost money because of The Last Jedi, but that was only one project. Disney is in trouble right now, and it's because of Kathleen Kennedy. It's not just Lucasfilm that's in trouble, it's Disney as a whole. Mainstream media outlets like Forbes are straight up calling out Disney and how bad they're managing their company. And now the Disney Plus viewership is down. That's because of Kathleen Kennedy. That's because she decided to fire Gina Carano. It's not because Falcon and Winter Soldier sucked or WandaVision sucked, because they didn't suck. And they're also Marvel properties, the biggest IP in the world right now. I think that Star Wars is the most powerful IP in the world. When done properly, there's nothing that can touch Star Wars. But because of how well Marvel has been done over the last few years, Marvel is the most powerful IP right now. So the fact that their shows are struggling just shows us that it's because of Gina Carano. It's because all these people who claim that they were canceling Disney Plus and I didn't believe them actually did cancel Disney Plus and actually aren't going to support Disney anymore. That's because of Kathleen Kennedy. And you can see that if you just go to the Star Wars YouTube channel. That's why what's happening on the Star Wars YouTube channel is important. Not because the Disney investors care if the YouTube videos get downvoted, because they really just don't. But if they want to find out why they're losing money, why people aren't watching Disney Plus shows anymore, why cancel Disney Plus trended on Twitter, all you have to do is go look at these videos that are being downvoted like crazy and go to the comment section and you'll find out why. That's why it's important. Because if Disney does want to find out why they're losing money and how to fix it, they don't have to go far to find out. And it's not just the Star Wars YouTube channel, it's the Disney YouTube channel, and it's also the YouTube channel of anywhere a Disney employee goes. We saw it happen on Bob Chapek's interview with Bloomberg as well. The fans are really angry this time and they're not gonna let off the gas. Things have to change and Disney has to know that, or they can just keep Kathleen Kennedy on, keep making these horrible decisions, and keep losing money. The rift between Favreau and Kennedy is well documented, with both having competing visions over Star Wars stories. Kennedy took over Lucasfilm in 2012 and was responsible for the rollout and issues with the trilogy sequel that ended up with much maligned The Rise of Skywalker. Fans and critics alike were disappointed with the ending, laying much blame at Kennedy's feet over the directorial change changes and vision. And that paragraph really said it perfectly. Not only is Kathleen Kennedy hindering everyone creatively by trying to tell her own stories and put her own woke agenda into these Star Wars stories, but she's supposed to be a business specialist. She's supposed to be this great producer, this all-time great producer, and she can't even do that job right. Every single time a director is hired for Star Wars, we know they're going to be fired 6 months later for creative differences. That's just how it is now. I know that Taika Waititi getting hired for that movie was extremely exciting for a lot of people, including myself. I love Taika. He's probably my favorite working director right now, but I'm tempering my excitement for that movie because I know he'll get fired for creative differences. We all know it's coming. So not only does Kathleen Kennedy do horribly at storytelling and trying to input her own agendas into these Star Wars stories, but she can't even do what she's supposed to be best at. She can't even produce properly. I think she started off at Lucasfilm with 11 Star Wars projects, and I forget the exact number, but I believe it was 7 out of the 11 projects had writers or directors fired off of the projects. That is horrible numbers, especially for someone who's a specialist in producing. And I'm not discrediting what she's done in the past as a producer. Obviously, her IMDb credits are great. Based on the IMDb credits, she is one of the best, if not the best producer of all time. But obviously, Star Wars is just a different beast, and she can't handle it. She's more focused on getting credit for her creative visions than actually making good content. And she's even more focused on putting her own agenda into these stories. According to these rumors originally from Pirates and Princesses, the infighting around Star Wars is split into 3 groups. The first is Kathleen Kennedy stans who originally came on in 2012 and were responsible for that run of movies. There's also the Favreau group who developed their stories from outside the Lucasfilm umbrella. And finally, there's the Bob Iger old school Disney folks who just want to continue putting out stories by avoiding conflicts. And personally, I think the Bob Iger people still have the most power at Disney, and they're going to soon realize that Kathleen Kennedy's vision is causing all of these conflicts. Kathleen Kennedy's vision is the reason why the fandom isn't united anymore. And let's be real, you're never going to make every Star Wars fan happy. But the Mandalorian finale wasn't perfect, but it brought the fandom together because it was a great story and it wasn't focused on real life politics. And yes, I know Bob Iger isn't the CEO anymore, but he's still the chairman of the board or whatever, and he has the most power. He has more power than the CEO does anyway. So he's pretty much the CEO without all the headaches. And I think before Bob Iger goes, he will fire Kathleen Kennedy. There is no way that Bob Iger leaves Disney with Kathleen Kennedy as the head of Lucasfilm after all the problems that she has caused. Because before it was just a Lucasfilm problem that she was causing, but now she is causing Disney as a whole to lose money. And that's not gonna fly for Bob Iger. That's not gonna fly for any of the Disney execs. Like I've always said, all those people care about is money. If you start messing with their money, that's when changes will be made. So the fans coming together to not watch these Disney Plus projects are eventually what's going to get Kathleen Kennedy fired. But let me know what you guys think of Jon Favreau being mad at Kathleen Kennedy about this civil war that's supposedly happening inside of Lucasfilm. I think when people hear civil war, they actually think that they're battling with lightsabers and blasters, and they kind of just discredit the idea of a civil war happening within Lucasfilm. But this happens a lot more often than people think. At poorly managed companies, factions form all the time. The same thing is happening at Warner Bros with DC. There is 100% a civil war within Warner Bros right now. It's not that outlandish that there would be a civil war in Lucasfilm too. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. If you hate Kathleen Kennedy as much as I do, check out my Ruined by Kathleen Kennedy merch linked in the description. If you did enjoy this video, please leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. If you want to follow me on Twitter or join the Discord, both of those links will be in the description as well. But thank you for watching the video, and I hope to see you on the next one.